Welcome to the Yoga Nation podcast on the One2Gration platform. Hello, friends. My name is Yogesh Patel, and this podcast focuses on bullying, self-awareness, and our inner spirit, inviting high-profile guests to share their experiences on these topics. And as I mentioned, the One2Gration platform in all of my introductions, which I describe as the Netflix of purpose, today I am joined by its founder and CEO, Mr. Jeffrey McKinney. Interestingly enough, the CEO designation stands for Chief Equality Officer, which I think is a really cool angle. Jeff looks to use his technology platform in a new facet to help address modern issues of personal development, professional development, and mental health awareness. Jeff, welcome to the podcast.
Yogi, thank you for having me. I have to return the gratitude and congratulate you. First off, I remember a time when we were just sitting at a table and kind of having a conversation, and something happened after that, and it's turned into this. So kudos to you for pursuing your purpose and your dreams, and it's a beautiful thing to witness.
Well, thank you. And I don't, this is not my journey alone. I think it's the journey of the guests that I have in the program, such as yourself, and also I believe the collective intent for everyone to have a better society in general. Again, that's, I wouldn't say free from bullying, but what bullying can do to provide learning lessons on adversity. Well, let's start, Jeff, let's first start with just asking the question, what is One2Gration?
One2Gration is a suite of different things. I think the best way to describe it is it's a place where we create a hub of resources for people to be able to come and access those, whether it be professionally, personally, or if they have aspirations to address or align more closely with their purpose. What we found over time through my own set of experiences is that, right now where we are in society, people are looking to get into a position to be able to connect more closely with others. And we want to be able to provide that in a place that addresses some of the challenges that people are facing today, one specifically being the algorithm. And so in One2Gration, people will be able to join because they aspire to be able to connect with others and do more. But what they will get in the way of a difference from social media is they will get to be able to connect directly without the algorithm and then align based off of the things that they care about.
Interesting. And just kind of going back to what you mentioned, social media and technology, I think you mentioned the point earlier, people are suffering in silence. So what can One2Gration do to help in this regard?
So suffering in silence is something that not even everyone is aware that they may be suffering in silence. I think over time, because of occurrences and experiences and traumas, people start to accept harsh realities of things that may be not permanent if they had the right support system. And so at One2Gration, what we're focused on is leveraging technology to be able to provide tools to support the overall well-being of each one of our members. And so by doing that, if you think about how technology is used today through social media and AI and those types of things, they're used to produce a product to drive a bottom line. Well, at One2Gration, we're in the business of building resources for the people, and our bottom line is the people's well-being.
How did this thing get started? I know that you mentioned that the late actor Chadwick Boseman was perhaps one of the catalysts in order for you to dream up this concept. What was that concept like, and how did it ideate?
So this was a whole experience, and Chadwick Boseman was something that I heard clearly in a time of chaos. And he was there at the commencement speech, and this was right around the time of his passing.
The Howard University commencement speech you're referring to, correct?
Howard. What did I say?
It was general. It was you left it broad.
So the Howard University commencement speech, and he talked about experiences and how to view those experiences as instances that we are, or experiences that we are able to appreciate or choose to appreciate because they're actually sent for preparation of whatever we were created for. And so he referenced the scripture in Jeremiah that supports that. And in that moment, I had been facing immense amount of challenges, and I started to think about, really why I had been chosen to be the person to experience this by our Creator. And so, being as though I had been in and around data centers since I was 4 years old, and I had worked in technology, I immediately heard him say also that in those experiences, it's about what are we going to use those for. And so, once I started thinking along that track, I started to identify some of the challenges. Social media being a huge opportunity. I think it's time for a revolution there. I think it's time for people to have choice. I think.
So it was not evolution, but revolution. Why do you say that?
Well, right now, social media uh, is hard pressed to be able to say that there's any integrity in it, and so without integrity.
It looks like with the concept of bullying, you think that it's something that is related to your childhood. And it's interesting you bring a new element to bullying in terms of the workplace bullying. I mean, I think for this podcast today that I'm having you on, maybe we can explore that in subsequent recordings. But that's interesting you mentioned that. So, how then did you stand up to these corporate bullies, for lack of a better term? And I guess what could be something that could be of value to a listener who's perhaps undergoing something similar within their corporate workspace?
Well, first, I would say to those of us out there that are facing this inside of the corporate workspace, that you're not alone. There's there's thousands, if not millions of people, and they don't all look alike, that are undergoing and suffering for various different reasons in toxic environments. And so One2Gration is a place for you to come and get outside of the algorithm and make sure that you have the right set of resources to support your overall well-being. Not every place is meant for you, but you are meant to succeed. And so we want to make sure that you have not only those resources, but you also have a community and a network that will help align and identify purpose and find those gifts and highlight those and plug you into where they're going to be appreciated, and where they're going to be served. Well, the first part of the question you were saying.
I don't recall. Well, no, it's, I guess the first part was around, typically you think of bullying as something that is experienced during childhood, not as an adult. I think that was the first part.
Yeah, so in my neighborhood, because it was love and it was character, if you treated people a certain way, then you would get what you got back. So I received a lot of love. It was, a lot of people will tell you that this sector of town is a tough part of Dallas, Oak Cliff, but I would say it's full of love. And because they taught us that character matters. And so that's the way that I've approached life since then. And it wasn't until corporate America where people would do things that I don't think they would say out loud. And when you would go and say to that person, that doesn't feel good. And, oh, by the way, I'm letting the manager know, because right here in this corporate little deal we clicked through at the beginning of the year, this compliance training, it says that we are all supposed to speak up. And so the manager saw it, you saw it, everybody saw it. And now I'm taking it to HR and no one's doing anything. And so, after a while, these things are not necessarily surprising. But what was surprising was the way my body responded. And so I didn't bargain for the PTSD. And so, that's been an experience in itself, to learn to pursue the healing, or the path of healing, to overcome or find the meaning of PTSD, because it's changed Jeff. I mean, I think some people question the fire and the wings and the poetry and all of the things that I do to create, but that is my path and my pursuit of expression and healing through the arts. Just to touch on that just a little bit, but that's the that's the that's the honest answer as to the impact of bullying in the workplace. These people will not come into the street and come back to where I'm from and stand in the middle of the street with me there and try to do those things. In fact, they're afraid to even go to these places that are full of love. It's the most alarming thing. And then they go into the corporate spaces and they misbehave and they're empowered to do so.
Well stated. Fun question for you. What were you grateful for yesterday?
What was I grateful for yesterday? If I'm going to simplify the answer, I'm just going to say that I was grateful for being seen and chosen and trusted to be able to deliver a vision like One2Gration. It is beyond, for me, when I look at it,
So you weren't grateful for to walk with your wife yesterday?
We didn't walk yesterday. Like it's school's just started back here, so we're trying to get back in the groove of getting everything ironed out. And so, man, we hadn't got there yet. And it's hot in Texas, bro.
Well, Arizona's right behind you there on that. So
Yeah. We have not been walking in the evenings. It's still close to 100 degrees here.
all right. Anything your kids said that made you laugh, that gave you a smile?
Anything that my kids said that gave me a smile. My kids are healthy. They came home from school. Nixon was second day of football practice.
Okay.
And that's something that he's really passionate about. And so Cruz is coming home from school. I was able to tell her, she came home from the first day of school and she said, "Mommy, I'm worried Hunter wasn't at school." And Hunter is a little boy that she's been friends with since the kindergarten, and she's in the third grade this year. And so I was able to reach out to Hunter's dad, and Hunter's dad told me that they did change schools. And so we set up a play date. And so I was grateful to be able to deliver her that great news when I picked her up from school. And she was relieved that Hunter was okay. And she said, this is what she said. Yeah, you helped me a whole lot. And this is what she said that was interesting. She said, after I broke the news to her and told her that we had a play date coming, she said, "Yeah, I hope he's okay because he has some really deep relationships here at Bledsoe." I said, "Oh, okay, cool." Third grade, bro. Third grade. So there it is. There was the shortcut.
There you go. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, a sincere pleasure to have you on. Again, I'd love to have you back on as another guest. Perhaps we can provide each other updates in terms of how we've progressed in our visions, ultimately to help and serve others. It goes back to John Lewis's mantra of leadership of love. People are suffering in silence. We're trying to make a difference in our communities to raise that collective spirit in all of us. Jeff, I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Yogi. And yes, I will be back. And I expect for us ongoing as we build this vision of One2Gration and Yoga Nation and how we go out and serve others, for us to continue collaborating and welcoming anyone else that wants to come and join alongside of us to serve in their purpose.
Fantastic. Take care.